When Elena Arden stepped off the train at Whitfell station, the Yorkshire wind hit her like an old memory. Cold, sharp, and threaded with the scent of damp earth and heather. She hadn't been back in 10 years, not since her mother's death, and she'd promised herself she never would. But inheritance letters don't listen to promises. Her aunt's cottage, remote, wind-battered, perched on the edge of the moor, now belonged to her. The taxi driver refused to take her all the way. "Roads too narrow in winter," he muttered. And then, more quietly, "And things roam up there at night." "What things?" Elena asked. He didn't answer. As Elena began the long walk, the moor stretched around her in bleak, sweeping silence. The fog clung low, rolling like breath across the land. Then she heard it. A long, low howl. So deep, so resonant, it vibrated through her bones. Wolves didn't live in Yorkshire. Not anymore. But something out there was calling. And for a strange moment, she felt as if it were calling her. The cottage looked smaller than she remembered. More weather-beaten. More alone. A light was on inside. Elena frowned. Her aunt's solicitor had mentioned something odd. The cottage had been rented for the past several months to a temporary lodger. She pushed open the door. A man stood in the kitchen. Tall, dark hair, unshaven jaw, eyes the color of storm clouds. He stared at her with an intensity that made her breath catch. "You must be Elena," he said quietly. His voice was deep, almost hoarse. "I'm Rowan Hale. Your aunt let me stay for the winter. Said she didn't like the cottage empty." Elena nodded, though unease pricked her spine. Something about him felt familiar, and not in a comfortable way. He moved like someone used to solitude, watched like someone expecting danger. And when he passed near her, she felt the faintest heat radiating from him, like the last ember of a dying fire. "What brings you to Whitfell Moor?" she asked. He hesitated. "Work," he said at last. "Quiet work. Fewer people." She didn't know why, but she didn't believe him. The moor was completely black by the time Elena settled into her old bedroom. Only the wind broke the silence. That, and Rowan moving quietly downstairs. Just past midnight, something pulled her awake. A sound. Low. Rhythmic. Breathy. Not human. A growl. It was coming from the moor. Elena went to the window. The fog had thickened into a rolling white sea, lit only by the weak glow of the moon. A shape moved. Large. Four-legged. Then another sound, closer this time. A howl. Longer. Angrier. She held her breath. Suddenly, downstairs, she heard the front door open. Then slam shut. Rowan. Leaving. Into the night. Without a coat. Without a light. As if the darkness belonged to him. In the morning, Rowan was already in the kitchen. Shirt sleeves rolled up. Hands wrapped around a mug of tea. There was mud on his boots. And something darker, dried blood, on his sleeve. "Elena," he said, nodding politely, as if nothing strange had happened. She sat across from him. "You went out last night." His jaw tightened. "Yes." "Why?" He stared into his tea. "Couldn't sleep." Elena didn't push him, but she stepped outside as soon as he left. The earth was soft with frost. She followed the path toward the moor's edge. What she found made her heart pound. Massive paw prints. Larger than any dog. Far too large. Five-toed. Deep impression. Claws like knives. A wolf's tracks. But distorted. As if the creature wasn't fully wolf. She crouched, touching the frozen edge of the print. Warm. Still warm. Something had been here. Very recently. And it was watching her now. She could feel it. Whitfell village was small, tight-knit, and suspicious of strangers. The moment Elena entered the old stone pub, the chatter dimmed. She sat at the bar and quietly asked the bartender, "Do wolves roam these moors?" His hand froze mid-polish. Dread flickered in his eyes. "Who told you that?" "No one," she said. "I heard something last night." A woman at a nearby table muttered, "Wind can sound like anything." A man replied, "It's not the wind. Not anymore." Elena swallowed. "Do you know a man named Rowan Hale?" she asked. Several villagers exchanged glances. The bartender leaned in. "You didn't hear this from me. But that man, he arrived alone. No family. No history. No past. And every time he sets foot on the moor at night." He lowered his voice. "The howling starts." Elena's breath caught. "And when he returns at dawn," the man continued, "he looks like his run from death itself." The woman beside him murmured, "Or run towards it." That evening, Elena found Rowan outside, splitting firewood. He moved with quiet strength, precise, controlled, but a tension lived in his every breath. Like he was bracing himself against an invisible storm. "You should stay away from the moor after dusk," he told her without looking up. She crossed her arms. "Why?" His axe stopped mid-swing. "Because it's not safe. Because of the wolves." His jaw clenched. "There are no wolves." "Then what's out there?" He hesitated. "Nothing you should be near." She stepped closer. "You can tell me the truth." He finally turned toward her, and for a heartbeat, she could swear his eyes weren't gray at all, but gold. Wild. Fierce. Beautiful. He blinked, and they were normal again. "Elena," he whispered, voice strained, "whatever you hear, whatever you think you see, do not follow it." Her voice trembled. "Are you in danger?" He looked at her with a mixture of longing and sorrow. "No," he said softly. "I am the danger." The full moon rose large and red over Whitfell Moor, the hunter's moon, the villagers called it. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. Not with Rowan pacing downstairs. Not with the wind tearing at the eaves. Not with the moor calling her name. Near midnight, she heard it again, the howl. But this time, she felt something else lead beneath it. A voice. Almost human. Almost pleading. She threw a coat over her nightdress and stepped outside. The cold bit instantly, but she kept going until she reached the moor's edge. Fog curled around her ankles. Something moved in the mist. A massive dark shape. Elena froze. The creature stepped into view. A wolf, but impossibly large. Its fur black as pitch. Its eyes burning gold. It stalked toward her, slow, deliberate. Then stopped just a few feet away. They stared at one another. Her breath shook. It lowered its head, as if recognizing her, as if waiting for her. "Elena." Rowan's voice thundered across the moor. The wolf bared its teeth, not at her, but at the direction of Rowan's voice. Then it bolted into the mist. Rowan grabbed her arm. "What were you thinking?" She pointed toward the fog. There was a wolf. But he pulled her close, voice sharp with fear. "Don't ever come out here again. Not at night. Not alone." There was something trembling underneath his anger. Not rage. Desperation. Later, Elena found Rowan outside in the barn, leaning against a beam, shaking. His shirt sleeve was torn, his shoulder bleeding. "Rowan," she whispered, stepping closer. "What happened?" He turned away. "Go back inside." "No." She reached for him, and when her hand touched his skin, he flinched violently. His body temperature burned like fever. "Elena," he whispered, voice breaking, "I'm not what you think I am." She swallowed. Then what are you? His breath shuddered. I have a curse. He closed his eyes. When the moon rises, I'm not fully human, not fully wolf. Something in between. She stared. You're the creature on the moor. He nodded once, shame flickering across his face. Elena, I don't want to hurt you. She shook her head. You didn't. You protected me. He opened his eyes, gold again, glowing softly in the dark. Elena, if you stay near me, this will only get worse. She stepped closer. I'm not leaving. A muscle in his jaw tightened. Then I will. He walked past her into the night, leaving a trail of blood on the floorboards. Elena went back to the village to seek answers. She found them in a man named Erasmus Grigg, an elderly folklorist who lived near the church. He studied her with knowing eyes. You've met him, haven't you? The Whitfell Wolf. Her heart hammered. Rowan said he has a curse. A curse? Grigg snorted. He's possessed by an old moor spirit. A guardian. A predator. A protector. Depends on the night. How did it start? Grigg leaned forward. Years ago, Rowan Hale saved a lost child on the moor during a storm. But he found something else too, an injured wolf. It wasn't normal. It wasn't natural. It passed its spirit into him, because it was dying. He shook his head. Now the wolf wears Rowan like a coat. Elena felt sick. Is there a cure? Maybe one, but it requires risking the wolf's wrath. He paused. And maybe Rowan's heart. A storm descended upon Whitfell. Wind screaming. Lightning splitting the sky. The moon fractured behind clouds. Elena sensed something was horribly wrong. Rowan was missing. She grabbed a lantern and ran into the storm. She found him near the old stone bridge, shaking violently, shifting in painful spasms between man and wolf. His hands were claws. His teeth elongated. His body contorted. Elena, he rasped, collapsing, go. Please. I can't. She dropped to her knees. I'm not running from you. He tried to push her away, but his strength was fading. Elena, I can't control it. She cupped his face. I don't care. He stared at her, torn between fear and longing, and whispered, Then kiss me before I lose myself. Her lips met his. For a heartbeat, the storm around them quieted. Rowan's breath became steady. His trembling slowed. But then, a howl ripped from his throat. Not human. Not animal. Something deeper. He tore himself away. Elena screamed his name as he vanished into the storm, the wolf taking control completely. Grigg met her at the moor's edge with a stone charm, etched with old runes. This is the only way to restrain him. Not to harm, to calm. How does it work? She asked. Love, he said simply. And willingness. On both sides. Elena swallowed. I'll do it. You'll need to find him at his weakest. Dawn. Dawn on the moors was a cold, merciless hour. She found him collapsed in a hollow, half-human again, frozen and shivering. Elena, he whispered, terrified, stay back. She knelt beside him. No more running, Rowan. She pressed the rune charm against his chest. Rowan groaned, but didn't resist. Wind swirled. Shadows twisted. The wolf form flickered violently, fighting the charm, but then Rowan grasped her hand. Elena, he gasped, eyes bright with pain. I want to stay. Help me stay. She held him. The wolf shuddered, growled, then quieted. For the first time, Rowan didn't fight it. For the first time, he trusted her. In the barn, Rowan slept for nearly a full day, his body healing from the transformation. Elena stayed beside him, wiping sweat from his brow, keeping the cold away with blankets and whispered reassurances. When he finally woke, his voice was raw. "Elena, you should be afraid of me." She shook her head. "I'm afraid for you." He reached for her hand, hesitated, then intertwined his fingers with hers. "You don't know what it's like," he whispered. "The wolf feels everything. Hunger, rage, need. And now, I feel you." Her breath caught. "Rowan." He looked at her with a vulnerability she never imagined from him. "I don't want the wolf to love you more than I do." Her heart thundered. "It doesn't," she whispered. "I choose you." He kissed her, slow, shaking, desperate. A man trying to reclaim his own skin. The wolf inside him cried out, but not in anger. In longing. But curses do not break easily. The wolf began to grow stronger each night. The charm weakened. Grigg warned, "If you don't separate them completely, Rowan will be lost by the next full moon." "How?" Elena whispered. "There's only one way. The wolf must be lured into revealing its true form. Only then can Rowan separate from it for good." "And who must do the luring?" Grigg looked at her. "You." Elena felt cold. "What if it kills me?" "It won't," he said softly, "because Rowan won't let it." On the night of the next full moon, Elena stood alone on the moor, holding Rowan's coat close to her chest. She whispered into the wind, "I'm here. Come for me." The wolf emerged from the darkness, enormous, snarling, but trembling. It circled her, sniffed her, growled. Then, slowly, it pressed its head against her stomach. Elena closed her eyes, tears falling. "Rowan, I know you're in there." The wolf's breathing hitched. She lifted the charm, glowing bright as fire. "Come back to me." The wolf roared, a sound of agony and defiance, but Rowan's shape began to peel from its form like a shadow breaking away. Light tore through the moor. The wolf howled one last time, and split. Rowan collapsed into Elena's arms. The wolf, now separate, a creature of pure spirit, bowed its head and disappeared into the heather. The curse was broken. Weeks passed. The moor was quiet again. The villagers no longer whispered at Elena. Rowan stayed in the cottage, no longer as a lodger, but as something more. One morning, as snow dusted the heather, Rowan stood at the fence, watching the sunrise. Elena wrapped her arms around him from behind. "How do you feel?" she whispered. "Human," he said softly, for the first time in years. She rested her cheek against his back. "And the wolf?" He turned, cupping her face. "It's part of the moor now. Not of me. But I feel free." She smiled. "Good. Because I'm not going anywhere." He kissed her forehead. "Neither am I." Behind them, far across the moor, a lone howl rose, soft, mournful, not threatening. Rowan squeezed her hand. "A goodbye," he whispered. Together, they watched the moor breathe, peaceful at last. And for the first time in her life, Elena felt like she was exactly where she belonged.